Welcome to Section 3, Measures of Central Tendency. Today we will discuss different types of central tendency measures, and we will also describe when to use certain measures. These measures are used to describe the middle of the data set. The first one is the mean. The mean is also the average, and it is found by adding all of the values in the data set together and dividing that number by however many entries you have. The next one is the median. The median is the middle value. Think about the highway. There's a median in the middle. If there are two middle values, you have to find the average of them to find the median. And it is essential that when finding the median, you order the numbers from least to greatest. The mode is the most occurring. So once you've ordered them least to greatest, you just see which number occurred the most often. If two numbers occur the same number of times, then you will list them both as the mode. And finally, the range just tells us how spread out the data is. So what we do is we find the greatest number and the least number, and we do the greatest minus the least to find out over how many values is this data spread. Now when looking at the data, sometimes there's a number that just does not seem to fit very well. It's a value that's either far less or far greater than the rest of the values in the data set. This is what we call an outlier. It throws our data off. For example, if you scored all A's on tests and then you scored 160%, that 60% would pull your average down. I'm now going to give you a chance to find the measures of central tendency for this data set below. Remember to order them least to greatest to find the median, the mode, and the range. When you are ready to continue, please hit play. Here are the data values from least to greatest. Remember, to find the mean, we have to add every data value in the set together. And when we do, we get 156. 156 is not our mean. We have to divide by how many numbers there are in the set. There are 10. So we're going to do 156 divided by 10. And it is 15.6 as your mean. To find the median, you are going to put your finger, I would put your left finger on the far left number. I would put your right finger on the far right number, and you're going to count in one by one. Since I cannot show you physically with my finger, I'm going to highlight ones as soon as I have them under my fingers. Here are the next ones. And we continue to make our way as we get closer to the center. At this point, we're left with two numbers. Okay? Remember, if we have two numbers at the end, we have to average the two numbers. So if we do 7 plus 8 divided by 2, we will get 7.5 as your median. This will happen when we have an even number of numbers in our data set. If we are looking for the mode, we are looking for the most often occurring. We look at our data, and since it's least to greatest, we can see how often each number occurred. The mode, since it's the most often, there's a couple different numbers that have two entries. Okay, 6 has 2, 7 appears twice, 8 appears twice, and so does 9. This is quite all right. If we have more than one mode, that can definitely happen. Just make sure that it is the most often occurring. For the range, we find our largest number. Our largest number is 91. Our smallest number is 5. We do 91 minus 5, and we get 86 as our range. That tells us over how many values did this data spread. Now for the next section, when you're given a data set, you may be given the choice of which measure of central tendency do you think will best represent the set of data. A few rules apply. If you're looking for the mode as your best set of central tendency, then you're looking for a data set that has a lot of duplicate numbers. So if you look through and you see that 90 appears a lot, 88 appears a lot, you're going to go with the mode. if there's a lot of numbers that occur more than once. Okay, the second one, if you're going to use the median as your best measure of central tendency, you always want to use it with outliers. It kind of cancels outliers out. So remember on your test score when you had all those A's and then you got a 60%? If you use median, that 60% will not hurt you nearly as much as if you did the average. For our first example, I went ahead and I took the original ones, which I have in black here, and I listed them in order from least to greatest so I could get an idea of how the data is spread. I went through and highlighted numbers that appeared more than once. Since there are many numbers that appear more than once, I am going to put that the mode is our best set. Okay, that's going to give us the best idea of how you did. So if these are your test scores, I am going to wager to say that 90 gives a good idea of where you stand because it occurred so often. And there's many other scores around it that did as well. 85, 98. They're all within a close proximity. For the final example, there's player salaries that are 35 million, 19 million, and 16 million. This is a pretty small data set. However, if you look at it, 35 is not very close to 19 or 16. 19, 16, pretty close together. 35, not so much. It's an outlier. If you remember from our previous section, if we have an outlier, it's going to be best if we use the median. That's really going to show us how the data is spread. So the final example, the median should be the best route. If you have questions or need clarity on this, please check out the linked videos. And if the linked videos are still not helping you, please come see me before school or during lunch.